lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete that. He's crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Frenetic is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard.
Interlagos translates to between two lakes, but you could also describe this track as one split between two types of circuit. Roughly half of it consists of long straights, sweeping corners, and high speeds, while the other half is diabolically twisty, slow, and technical. Two sides of the same coin will play host to two classes of car, all sharing just one piece of tarmac. Who will come away with the win, and who will come away with double trouble? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 10 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Pekin. With me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes, our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, though most people refer to this place as Interlagos, it does have a more official name. Tell us about the track.
Joe, I certainly will. Sao Paulo, Brazil, sir. It's good to have you here on track today. Yes, track was renamed in 1985 after Carlos Pace, only one driver who died in a plane crash tragically in 1977. Now, they opened this track in 1940, and they had their first Formula One event back in 1972. That's been a steady host of the Brazilian Grand Prix since 1990. This 15-turn, 4.3-kilometer track is, well, let's say it has more than its fair share of twists and turns, as you see there on the map. It's twists like a drunken snake almost. But the best way to get an idea of what this place is really like is to hop on board the GSRC Audi GT90 and take a lap around Autodrome Jose Carlos Pace.
Alright, we're in the GSRC Audi, so let's do a lap around Interlagos. Coming up to the Senna S, you've got some incredibly difficult braking. The track curves and drops away, and in the Audi, it's tough to find that sweet spot of balance. Keep tucked into both apexes, and then, when you come onto the Curva de Sol, you'll find yourself feathering the throttle. The car will want to understeer if you stay in it flat out, so it's all about judging it right and mashing that right pedal as early as it'll stick. That's because you're now flying down the Reta Oposta, which gives a prime passing opportunity into the Descida del Lago. Once again, you've got another corner where the elevation drop is going to make that apex frustratingly hard to hit. From there, turn 5 can be flat out if you hit it just perfect, but I found I often needed a small lift. And then you've got to switch sides quickly to line up for Ferradura. This double apex sweeper will test your patience because you'll be itching to get back on the gas. And even though you've got lots of paved runoff to the outside, you don't want to swing it too wide or you'll get an off track. Now you'll slam the brakes for 8, which kicks off the more technical second half of the course. Always keep in mind that these curves to the inside are fair game and give a decent amount of grip, so go ahead and get greedy by climbing all over them. The hard part is just the constant waiting to apply the throttle through these weaving hairpins. Eventually, once you've coasted through Mugello, you'll let it swing out to the right and slam the brakes for Juchao. This is easily the most important corner of the track because your exit will have a lot to say about your lap time. Not only is the climb to the start-finish line the longest flat-out section of the track, but it's pretty steeply uphill. Momentum and top end make a big difference here. Expect a bit of drafting to help kick off some battles down into the first corner, but hopefully you've now finished a lap around Interlagos. You can see from that onboard, there's actually quite a bit of elevation change around here. Definitely a track that retains a bit of an old school flavor to it. Now, we talked about that there's two classes out there, the GTPs and the GTOs, Sean. But in talking before we went to the broadcast, you sound pretty convinced that we're going to see some interclass traffic problems out there today.
Well, yeah, we will, Joe. Certainly from basically Ferradura, which is turn 6, probably all the way to Junsao, which is turn 12. That whole part of the course is going to be really easy to get stacked up down there. And boy, we've got a healthy mix today. When I say healthy mix, well, we've got a healthy field. We've got 27 cars, but we've got 18 Nissans and 9 really strong Audis. What does that mean? Well, that means, you know what? They're going to get around and they're going to catch these guys, and probably not a lot of good spots on track, Joe, and it should make for a very interesting race. The Nissan, very, very fast around here. The Audi, not so much. It takes a little bit more finesse to get this Audi GT90 through the twisty bits, as you so found out.
Yes, and can't say this is my favorite course to drive this car around, the Audi and the GTOs. But I'm hoping it'll provide some good racing. We do have a couple places that passes can happen, certainly as you've demonstrated talking about that back half of the course. I doubt we'll see many of them there.
Probably not. You're probably looking in the first turn, and the Senna S down down the hill there into the Senna S. Descida del Lago there, turn 4. There's a good opportunity there. There's a lot of runoff there. Very easy to pick up an off track, but you don't have to worry about that here today, and that runoff could probably keep you out of trouble as the faster traffic's coming through, but certainly passing opportunities to be found there. On the flip side of that, we talked about this in the pre-race show, that turn 1, turn 2, the Senna there, that could be a big problem as well. Seems hard to hit the braking zone just right, no matter what car you're in, whether you're in the Nissan or the Audi.
Yeah, that dip downhill, the curved nature of it, the blind apex, it is oh so difficult. We're watching on board Michael Houghton and his GTP Nissan, and as he comes to the line, gets himself a time. He's put himself in 4th. Up at the top of that GTP field, surprisingly, actually, we've got Rob Olenek, and he's actually just been replaced as Antti Lepisto now takes the pole.
Yes, the very quick, very fast Finn there. Antti Lepisto goes to the pole on his first lap. That's a 124 flat, Joe.
Richie's now been bumped down to 3rd. He's actually coming around Junxiao right now and up towards the front stretch. Let's see if his second lap is any better. This is highly unusual for Keith not to be on the pole position as he weaves his way up. Oh, and he slows early. Interesting. He does not want the lap. Either he screwed it up or just simply was not happy with it. So Richie will do no better than 3rd. Meanwhile, in the Audis, Joni Hagner currently has the pole position there. He just completes his second lap. And a 1:33.6 is the fastest he can go. Philip Lake is on his second lap. He's about 9/10 back. He's got a long ways to try and catch up to Hagner. And as he crosses the line, what is he going to get? Looks like he does not improve, Sean.
No, 1:34.6. Best he could do, just right there about, I don't know, about a 10th off from his lap one time. Hats off to Keith Ritchie, though. Man, I want to give him a shout-out real quick. He does a lot of work out here in the Camel community. The lap guides, the set. He shared a great set for the Nissan with the community for this race today, Joe. And I think if you're using Keith's set, you're going to have a pretty good shot at keeping the car on track.
Daniel Newman currently 7th in the Audis as well with the number 21. Also want to give a little bit of a mention to Jamie Hall, who is putting his second lap in right now. He's Keith's teammate, but last week when Keith was not there, Jamie took home the win, and in fact his first win on the broadcast here in the iRacing Camel GT series. Let's see if he can repeat the feat and carry that momentum. He's going to have to do it from 3rd unless he improves his lap time here. 1:24.5. He crosses the start-finish timing line. Does he improve? The answer is no.
Well, yeah, Richie's coming around, but I guess this would be an outlap for him? Or did he? No, it was. Okay. So Keith is only going to get the one lap, Joe.
Yes, remember he stopped on course on his second lap, which counts that as soon as you tow to the pits. Now, also want to give a little mention, driver we've seen over in the Autobahn series, Kiridan Guafia has shown up here in the GTO field, and he's currently sitting on the front row of those cars. A nice job from Kiridan here, and I believe we may have seen him once before, but I don't think we see him often over here in the Camel GT series.
You know where he's sitting right now? He's in what I like to call the Brian Strodbeck spot there. He's behind Joni Hagner. Brian not here today.
A little bit disappointing, yeah, especially after we kind of didn't get as much of a battle as we would have liked last week at Zolder. But only 30 seconds left on the clock, so everybody's got to get their last lap in. And I'm trying to see if there's actually anybody else on track. No, only 3 cars, and they've all got their 2 laps in. So we have got our field solidified, Sean.
Yes, sir, we do. Let's go to the grid.
On the pole, it is going to be Antti Lepisto, and he's got quite a margin, 4/10 over Rob Olenek on such a short track. That is an impressive gap. On that front row, Jamie Hall, as we mentioned, will be starting 3rd. Keith Ritchie, all the way back and forth. Highly unusual. I guess that set that he shared has really brought a number of drivers up to his level. Ardo Ihamaki will be starting in 5th with Michael Houghton next to him on row 3 and 6. Mick Claridge, he tried the GTOs previously here in the iRacing Kamel GT Series. Now he's trying the Nissans in the GTP class. He'll start in 7th today. Lambert Brink will be in 8th with Clayton McLeod starting in 9th. Nick Mukanos, a little bit farther back than we're used to seeing him start. He'll be in the top 10 with John Keefe starting in 11th. Martin Krajcik will be in 12th with John Hill starting in 13th. Jesus Pacilius will be in the 14th position, and P15 will be Klaus Peterson. Michael Kopak, the robotics engineer, will be in 16th, and then Michael Steiner will be in 17th. And then one more GTP is out there. Lars Martin Rubert will start at the back of that field. He got a time that was slower than some of the GTOs, and you'll see him farther down in our grid here.
Okay, on the pole, it's going to be Joni Hagner there in the GTOs, and then Caradine Boafia there will start 2nd. Philip Blake is starting 3rd. Ove Trengrade in 4th. Ben Lafter starting 5th. Hideki Koivitso 6th. Andrew Baki 7th. 8th going to go to Daniel Neumann, and Marcelo Aiello going to start in 9th at the GTO field.
And as you can see, as we ride on the blimp, they're going to start halfway through the lap here, I believe just before Ferradura, if I remember correctly. And it looks like Brian is here, just he's not out on the track there, Sean.
You know what? Yeah, he is stuck at work this morning. Got stuck in the firehouse this morning. So shout out to Brian. Good to see you're out there watching, buddy. Stay safe out there in the streets of Cleveland.
Yeah, best to him and his buddies there at the fire station, and hope they all stay safe today as we wait for the rest of the grid to reach out to the track. And then we'll go racing here for 45 minutes in round 10 of the iRacing Kamel GT Series. Antti Lepisto missed out on a potential win last week with Jamie Hall beating him to the line. What can he do this time?
Hey, Joe, it does give me the quick chance to say, hello, Cleveland.
But does Cleveland rock? That's the question.
Of course they do, Joe. It's the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It always rocks.
All right, so as they now work their way through the twisty bits, you really get a sense with all these cars side by side of how narrow and just how tight and twisty this back half of the course is. Through the Duckspill, one of my favorite corner names, I have to say, Sean, just of all the corner names around the world, the Duckspill has to be one of the coolest.
Yeah, it is. And of course, when you're looking at the track from above, that's all you see is that Duckspill.
Then up to Zhongshao, one of the most important corners you can take on this circuit. Uphill, slightly off camber as you come off of it. And if you go off the curb, it is downhill. It is so easy to slip off into that grass if you go too wide. Drivers will be wanting to avoid that today, and they climb now steeply uphill. Going to go past the water tower. Past all the grandstands. And then the roof pace car is going to peel off. Going to look a little bit different for those familiar with the modern layout of this pit lane. They've since changed it since iRacing scanned it. The legendary iRacing curse struck again after they scanned this track, that they repaved it and had a little bit of changes. Thankfully, nothing really to the layout, but the green flag waves as Antti Lepisto leads them across the line. Jamie Hall gets a good jump, but it's a side-by-side battle for second. Olenek around the outside of Keith Ritchie trying to hold him off. We got a big accident behind them as a few cars involved off track. I believe that is Mukanos, and I can't tell who the other is. We have to go to the GTOs.
All right, Hagner gets off to a great start, but he has to get through that Nissan traffic that had gotten off. Great start for Boafia. He is all over it now as they head into Interlagos.
And it looks like that was McLeod and McConos that got together. McLeod trying to make his way back through these GTOs.
And Keith got together with Lambert Brink on the straightaway heading down into Interlagos.
Boy, it is unpredictable times here at the start for a few of our Nissan drivers. GTOs looking a little bit more steady there at the start. Up at the front, though, Lepisto coming around the Duck's Bill now through Mugello and up into Junxiao, and Jamie Hall is giving chase, only half a second back. And behind them both, Keith Ritchie has disposed of Olenek, already on the podium, wanting to get up to the front.
Well, the awkward start for the Nissans, Joe, has made things difficult here for the Audis up front. Clayton McLeod having to work through the leaders right now. Just gets around Philip Blake. Now closing in on Boafia and Hogner. Hogner coming around up the hill through those boxes now. Still in the lead, but not by much. Boafia, good pace. Oh, McLeod coming through at a very, very tight spot there.
Yeah, Boafia had to take evasive action, and it looks like McLeod is going to get past Hogner. But a big jink of the wheel from Kiradine. And look at how much he's closed that gap down to 3/10, patiently trying to get onto the throttle coming around the Curva del Sol. And here they come up the Retta Aposta, down to the Descida del Lago. Boafia, does he have a go? He's close, but not close enough. There was a little blink on my screen from Hagner. I don't know if that showed up on the broadcast. Ooh, he's got a great run coming out of 5. Once again, just isn't brave enough to stick his nose in yet, Sean.
Not yet, but man, giving Yoni a little bit of a mirror full of it right now.
I'd love to see Kiradine return. Any more talent we see in these GTOs, the better.
Do you think when Yoni looks behind and sees, oh, here we go. Ooh, I thought he was going to get in there.
An unusual place to attempt to pass, but Kiradine is not going by any sort of tradition here, as he has a go into the Duck's Bill. Let's see if he can set him up coming out of Junxiao. And as we switch over to the prototypes, Keith Ritchie trying to get past his teammate. Hall holds him off into the Senna S, and they are all line astern. Second, third, and fourth. Olenek right with him. Oh, way off into the AstroTurf for Ritchie, though. A little bit off the apex for Olenek coming through the Descida del Lago. Didn't hurt him too much, just lost a little bit of time. We've now got a 5-car train, because check out Michael Houghton and Ardo Ihamaki.
Yeah, they're in the party. They're definitely in this conversation.
Ritchie keeps getting ever closer to his teammate Hall in that silk-cut Jaguar. And as well, Olenek is getting up on top of Ritchie, at least in the slower sections. Let's see what they can do coming out of Junxiao. Ooh, off the apex for Keith Ritchie, and that hurts him, you can tell, as he drops back a little bit. And these cars known for not giving a whole lot of slipstream. Closes in as they reach up for the braking into the Senna S. Could have had a look, but he drops back, and all this fighting is allowing the fin of Anti Lepisto to start to peel away. Once more through the Curva del Sol. Olenek keeping a check on Keith Ritchie now. Fight for second, very hot in the early days of round 10 here in the iRacing Camel GT Series. Ritchie with an excellent run coming out of the Descida del Lago. Will he take a look into the Ferradura? No, he stays right in the tire tracks of that silk-cut Jaguar.
Boy, Clayton McLeod had more trouble, Joe, coming out of the Senna. Slides off the course into the tire barrier, knocks the front end off of his Nissan. Not a good day for Clayton.
And he was all by himself on that one. Unfortunate to see Clayton just struggling out there. But as we switch back to this battle for second, still keeping in our eyes to see what Keith Ritchie is going to do. He's taken his sweet time to try and get by Jamie. They stretch out, climbing back up past the grandstands once again. Almost getting a bit of a truly train, it seems, here at the front of the field.
Yeah, definitely, Joe. Hey, development in the Audis, though. Philip Lake has seemed to really fallen off pace from the leaders, and boy, now Ben Laughter and Ove Trengrade have caught him. This is going to be a party here real soon. It is already. Philip Lake doing all they can to just hang on to this podium spot here.
As we ride on board with Trengrade. Sorry for the sudden noise. It was Ardo Iamaki almost got to the back of Houghton into turn 1, but they managed not to make contact. Let's stay with this battle. Coming down the front stretch, Ben Laughter holding off Trengrade, using that draft as best as he can. As he reels him in, looks to the inside. Can he make an outbreaking maneuver down into the Senna S? And he's not quite there.
Tough place to try and outbrake somebody, Joe. The brakes can end your race down there in that first corner.
Certainly can. And all of this is a fight for the podium. Just ahead of them, that is Philip Lake, as you mentioned, who is in third. Laughter a bit in the sandwich right now. The Commodore GTO trying to hold off that Skull machine.
Lake seems to have gotten back with the program just a little bit. Able to hold Ben off there for now.
Buavi has not given up on our leader, though. He is still within 3/10.
Yeah, and he keeps presenting the car for a pass, and just backs out of it a little bit. Nothing big sacrifice here yet.
Seems like a hard ask trying to pull psychological maneuvers on a Finn, but Buafi is trying it. Drops back a little bit coming out of Junshao. It's going to deny him an opportunity, most likely, down to the Senna S.
Caradine with a very confusing livery there, the Mopar Dodge Power on that Audi.
Great livery, though. I hadn't caught that until you just pointed that out.
Well, it's not any more confusing than Yoni Hagner and his Toyota-powered Audi there.
Yeah, they love their classic liveries around here. Gets a decent launch coming out of the Curva de Sol. But once again, just proving a little bit too far away. Can he do something into Ferradura, potentially? Decent amount of braking heading into this corner. Pyridine not willing to risk that one yet. They come around the double apex sweeper, up and over that blind crest, and then woeing it up for turn 8. Oh, just look at how close he's getting to that rear spoiler.
Those two kind of putting in overtime right now. Early in this race, we've only knocked out 10 minutes. Can they keep this up for another 35?
You have to wonder, are they even on pace, or is Curadine being held up here?
I'd say that Curadine not being the regular here, I think he's running the race he wants to run right now. Keep Yoni right here, arm's length, and just follow along, kind of figure him out a bit, and then wait and maybe till the last 10 minutes to start to really make a move on him. Maybe sooner, but that's my feeling about it right now.
We got a battle for fourth because Ben Laughter once again trying to hold off Ove Trengrade. This time he had to take a defensive move into the Senna S, but he fends him off successfully. This could give a better exit to Trengrade. Look at him close up, but he lifts coming off the corner, and that's going to hurt him. It was looking so hopeful until he understeered wide. Checking in with the prototypes, Lepisto still leads. He's got about 2 seconds over Jamie Hall, but you can see Hall has not allowed his teammate through by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and Olenek is back here still holding off Houghton and Niamaki. It's close, though. I mean, Houghton is right there.
They're coming up on Daniel Newman, who they are going to lap right now. Newman goes way wide, letting second and third place through. Oh, and now he's going to be caught in a very difficult section, this last half of the course with its twisty infield.
Newman. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
This time he was not a pest, so, and I'm not referring to him, I'm referencing Seinfeld, of course. So, Daniel, I'm not saying you're typically a pest, just to cover myself. Daniel's doing a great job, actually, dealing with the traffic in that orange machine.
There's probably a lot of people watching this right now not getting any of that, Joe, so.
Hopefully I have old enough viewers to remember that. So we watch Michael Houghton at the tail of this train, or excuse me, in the sandwich of this train. That's Ihamaki behind him at the tail. Running, oh, and takes a late dive to the inside. Oh, they're going to go 3 wide. He gets into Houghton. Houghton gets tipped around, comes back straight. Ihamaki is ahead of him. Is he going to let him back through? No, he is not.
Denied.
Let's look at the replay from above. Ihamaki with a late move. Same thing with Houghton. Both of them electing to try and break deep, and it does not work out for Houghton.
Well, Rob gets the win there, Joe.
Oh, and Houghton
wait a
just
minute.
made contact with Koivisto.
Boy.
Might want to get a replay of that here if this all cools out for a second. They're trying to get past the car of Andrew Backey.
You know, they put Hideki in a really impossible position there, Joe.
All right,
that's not his fault at all.
So the fight opened back up when Koivisto inadvertently held up Olenek, and then Olenek held up Ihamaki, and here comes, whoa, jeez, Houghton around the outside. Man, that was an intense moment, and great move by both Olenek and Houghton. Meanwhile, second place, side-by-side action. Jamie Hall's got just a nose ahead. He made, or Richie has a nose ahead, excuse me. He went down the inside of the Senna S, held him off when it switched back to the outside of the right-hander. Keith Ritchie with a beautiful move. Let's look at the replay. Just got a great run, it looks like. Hall didn't go defensive.
Oh, boy. Man, we got big things going on here. Philip Lake, Ben Laughter, Obe Tregrade. Sorry, Joe. All with Nissan's trying to, this battle they're trying to get through here. Hall and Ritchie both trying to get through. This is a mess.
Yeah, Ritchie's going to have to weave his way around. And poor Hall gets boxed in. Here comes an opportunity for Ben Laughter to the inside of Philip Lake. Almost gets into his side, but somehow in all of this, Lake holds him off. And once again, they're boxing in the Nissan of Jamie Hall. Now he sneaks through finally.
Did I say there was going to be trouble? I said there was going to be trouble, Joe.
Lake with a headache and then some. Lost a whole 2 seconds on Keith Ritchie in that exchange. Somehow, Lake is still ahead of Laughter and Tranquerade as more of the Nissans start to stream through.
Oh boy.
Contact there between Lake and who is that?
Laughter.
Oh, Houghton.
I'm sorry, it was Houghton that was coming through there. My bad.
Houghton is not a fan of the Senna S these past couple laps, that's for sure. And Buafia early on holding second place right behind Hagner. Somehow in all this traffic just has not been as good as Yoni Hagner, 5.5 seconds back.
Yeah, it is really hurt Buafia. He's dropped through this traffic, not able to catch up. But Hagner now having to deal with a lot of traffic himself, so maybe things will even themselves out. We'll see here.
Yeah, Hagner gets passed by Lepisto. Ritchie's now going to come through. Gonna catch him at a convenient time, I think. Oh, maybe not. Doesn't hurt his line, though. Richie waited patiently. I thought he was going to stick his nose in.
You know, and certainly I've been watching the chat and maybe have a little inside information on Hagner and the fact that maybe he was saving the tires a little bit here early, Joe. It certainly could be the case. It's 108 degrees on track. Would have been a good call if that's what he was doing. Now he's getting on it. That's allowed him to pull away just a bit. Still got to let Jamie Hall through here, though.
Yeah, that's a good catch there, Sean. Yeah. I don't know about you, but that's one thing I definitely found is it's so easy if you're aggressive. It seemed like the tires got greasy quick.
Yeah, and on a 108-degree track, a clear skies.
Sorry, on screen.
Yeah, I know.
Just watch Basilius working his way through Laughter, Lake, and Trangarade. Laughter did get past Lake. Now Trangarade's trying to do the same, but can't quite make the feat.
I mean, these poor guys, you've seen so much action.
And they've got more. Barton Krejcik is going to try and get through. He gets one of them. Is he going to interrupt things for Lake once again? A little sad after. Oh, going in Lake. Gets two of them and he runs into Laughter.
Yeah.
Lake gets through. Trangarade gets through. Gonna watch it from above. I figured he'd make a move. I didn't think he would try a move on both of them. I mean, Laughter didn't either.
Ill-advised, maybe. Hate to call anybody out there, but it's
ambitious, we'll say.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Ambitious, yeah. Well, luckily the boys are able to keep going. Phil Blake still running, and Obe Trangarade still trying to catch him.
Yeah, but poor Ben Laughter came out the worst of that. He was ahead of both of them, and to top it off, going through Junção, Klaus Peterson and Sean Hill also held him up. You can see the gap that they've caused between Laughter and Trangarade. Well, it might swing back his way as they're going to force Trangarade to the outside of Curva de Sol. That's going to lose him a lot of time.
I'm trying to remember a time right now. Oh, yeah, the start of the race, that they weren't involved in any traffic, any Nissans coming through.
It was the correct call, Sean. It has been frenetic ever since they caught the lap traffic. This is a fight for position between Hill and Peterson, for 9th, in fact. Krejcik did take to the pits. I think he's trying to get repairs after that contact. There we see Houghton holding down 5th right now, who's still stuck between Olenek and Ihiamaki. And if you're wondering about our leaders, Lepisto has about a second over Keith Ritchie at the moment. Hall has dropped back. It's been interesting watching Lepisto. He's been good this season. He's had pace, but not the consistency. He's made mistakes, run into trouble, cost him some wins along the line. Can he manage to fend off Keith Ritchie today and get him another win in the Camel GT Series? Meanwhile, we understand that Houghton is blinking a bit.
Apparently he's... Yes, I'm going to use it. Apparently he's having trouble with that C64 processor there in that Commodore.
Does he need to eject the tape and flip it over and put it back in?
I think so. I think it's time to eject the tape. Yes, Joe.
Hopefully it holds up for him. A top 5 would certainly be nice for the Texas driver.
You know, just when it looked like Buafia was about to gain a little ground on Yoni Hagner, there's more traffic coming through. So here comes John Hill and Klaus Peterson trying to make their way through now.
Yeah, and with those two being in a battle, they're not going to be waiting around, that's for sure. Slipping to the inside, one gets through. What about Peterson? No, Peterson's going to wait. Not going to cost much time to the car of Kiradine Wafia. The battle rages on as that fight for ninth comes up to the braking for turn 1 once again. Things are spread apart mostly in the GTOs as everybody's getting themselves a little bit of track. Lake and Trangarade are about the closest fight for third. And actually, wow, Trangarade gained a lot of time. Trangarade's off right now. And that is going to let the car of Ben Laughter sneak on through. What a little opportunity for Ben.
Yeah, it is.
Let's watch on board of the Plains driver and see what it looked like. He was a long ways back. It was Michael Kopak coming through. Maybe caught the car of Trangarade out just a little bit. You're going to see his right tires get on that grass, and they just are not going to give the braking power that he wanted.
I mean, he's the first top 5 driver to gain a spot here so far today. Been tough slugging for the Audis.
Certainly has been. And it looks like Trangarade's not going to give up on this one. Let's stay on this fight with a little bit of an update. We wondered how Mick Claridge would do in the high downforce cars. Well, he's currently holding 7th in the GTP class. Up through Junxiao with R2 fighting for 4th place. Laughter and Trangarade, they're still within sight of Philip Lake. They've got visual on him. Oh, way off and into the wall for Ove Trangarade. A hard slap, and he immediately brings it into the pits unscheduled.
Okay, now Joe, you told me you were able to take that flat. I wasn't, and I couldn't manage it, and
I was also in clean air, and he was right behind another car.
Yeah, and the push was real. Yep, exactly. What a tough break for Trangarade.
Certainly is. There we see Mick Claridge. How about we jump a little bit higher than him, because Michael Houghton and Rob Olenek are still going at it. These two cannot get away from one another. Here comes Houghton with a good slipstream. He looks to the outside. An aggressive defense from Rob Olenek. Tries to be late on the brakes, but look at Houghton going the long way around to the Senna S. It switches back to his side on the second apex. A beautiful move by Houghton.
Ooh, around the outside.
Not an easy feat, way out into the dirty stuff for Rob Olenek, and now it switches roles. A defensive move from Houghton, laid on the brakes for Olenek this time, and he can't hold on to it. A good defense from Michael.
Wow.
Tense stuff here in the fight for 4th in the GTP class.
Iamaki sitting there just watching all of this, looking for his bit of milk there. Just a cornflake floating around back there, Joe.
Yeah, that battle has certainly helped him gain on these two. And he probably wants them to keep going at it more to give him opportunities to try and sneak his way through. But they come up to Junxiao, and Houghton's starting to show a bit of speed. As he pulls away, that number 10 could have been held up by these two earlier in the race. Bad news for Ove Trangarade fans. He has manually disconnected. The damage was too much for him to elect to continue in the final 20 minutes of this race. Right on board with Houghton in this stream of 3. Holding on once again, no incident limit, so when you see cars like Iamaki go off into the AstroTurf like that, there is no penalty except for their safety rating.
And who cares about that, right, Joe? I mean, come on, we're racing, man.
Exactly. Well, they'll worry about it if they do enough races around here and they keep putting those off. But I guess enough races around the Nürburgring will gain that right back, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, they're coming up on traffic. Koivisto who certainly doesn't want any more troubles for this race, dutifully gets out of the way in the duck's-bill, letting them through. And ahead of them, their own class. That's Clayton McLeod that they're going to be lapping. And then Andrew Backey in the GTOs. McLeod holding slow. Oh, they're going to go 3 wide. As they an attempt to the inside there by Rob Olenek, but can't do anything with it. Oh, off into the grass for Iamaki.
Did somebody tell these guys we were at Talladega today? I mean, that's the second or third time we've seen 3 wide already.
Iamaki sending it in deep down to the inside of Olenek. Olenek goes wide. It's going to switch back in his favor, but he's pinched in, carrying the momentum. Look at that, Iamaki. Beautiful move.
That is some driving right there, buddy.
Great racing all around, hard but fair from everybody, and they all made it through fine. Even dealt with the traffic of Clayton McLeod and all of that.
Here's Yoni Hagner over here in the Audis, just running it first. Can't give him any screen time because, man, the battle's just way too good. Tell you what, though, Caroline Biafia is catching up Joe a little bit at a time. 4.5 seconds he's got it down to.
Is it too little too late, though, for Kiradine to try and gain on Yoni? So we see him swing up that front stretch once again. Boy, this is going to be a hard pick of the move of the race there, Sean, between Houghton going around the outside on one lap or Iamaki just somehow finding momentum and grip on the last part of the Senna S. Both of those just stunned me.
Yeah, I'm so impressed at the driving we're seeing today. Great battles.
Up at the front, we've been keeping an eye on Richie as well. He's been holding station and just about a second back from Antti Lepisto. Some ducks around the car of Ben Laughter. He's got it down to 0.6, half a second now. Looks like Lepisto being held up momentarily by Philip Lake in the Descida del Lago. He slips around the outside. That's bought Richie some time. He sneaks by on the inside of Philip Lake into the Ferradura. And now the chase is on. A little more traffic in the form of Marcelo Aiello. He pulls way off the racing line. Lets both of them through. And in all of that, unfortunately, Richie is back up to a second. This has certainly been an unpredictable one, as traffic has played a major role in most of the fights that we've been watching throughout today.
Yeah. Agreed, Joe. Agreed. Yeah, I keep going back to what we were talking about in the pre-race, man. That was going to be an issue, and it certainly proved to be correct.
Through the Curva del Sol one more time. Richie gains barely a 10th on Lepisto through that set of corners. It really seems like he is going to have to rely on the traffic we just were talking about to try and regain that ground. He gets another 10th coming through Descida del Lago. So slowly but surely he's reeling him in right now.
Boy, in the battle right now that Philip Lake and Ben Laughter are having being interrupted here momentarily as a bunch of Nissan screaming through here. Olenek getting now through, and Iamaki just came by along with Michael Houghton.
And there's the lap Nissan of McLeod, who's trying to wait a little bit more patiently with him not having anybody to race with. He splits them and swings to the outside, coming down to the Duck's Bill. And now we'll be able to leave them alone, but Philip Lake losing a lot of time trying to let him through. Laughter closes in right under the spoiler.
I would say advantage Laughter right now. Going to get a run at him here.
Has to focus on this corner exit, and he gets a good one. Barely a car length back from Philip Lake. What can he do with it as we ride on board climbing up the hill? He manages to successfully stay in the wake of the car. Now he gets the slipstream. Looks to the inside. No defense from Philip Lake. Can he defend from the long way around down through the Senna S? We've seen some amazing things so far, but not this time from Philip Lake, as he's going to give it up.
Laughter power in that car through there. A very, very technical section of the track. Good move by him. Plenty left for Philip Lake here. Going to try and take advantage of him here. Going down into Interlagos.
He's got a nose to the inside, but he backs out of it. Not brave enough on the brakes down into the Interlagos. Stays with him. Philip Lake may have given it up into the first corner, but he is not giving up the war. Through Ferradura they go. He is just staying glued to the tire tracks of that Commodore 64 Audi. They're going to get interrupted here soon. Mick Claridge is coming up behind him. Bit of different lines on the back half of the course between these two GTOs. Blake sizing him up. This is where he lost it before. Oh, a horrible exit, though, from Ben Laughter. They're going to go side by side. McClarridge is going to have to wait patiently. Manages to get through. Philip Lake retakes that third position.
See, it's where you see the power of that Audi. Look at these two fighting. Mick got to get out of that. I don't want any part of that.
Slips through easily. Good defense from Philip Lake, holding to the inside, coming into the Senna S, and Laughter has no response for now. And while we were watching this, fans who wondered what's going on between Lepisto and Richie, well, that has backed out to 2 seconds. So the ebb and the wane of the battle for the lead is just teasing us.
Well, Joe, you know what? Andrew Bacchi and Hideki Koivitso have been trying to get this done for a while. Koivitso just can't seem to find a way around. These two have been going at it for a while now. Bacchi's still holding on to this 5th spot. Hideki been trying to take it away since the start of the race. It's right where he started.
He's doing a good job of keeping the pressure on for now, but Bacchi is a hard nut to crack, that's for sure. Ooh, goes a little wide, though, through Ferradura, and that's going to allow Koivisto to close in.
Yeah, Bacchi's good. He's real good. He hasn't been perfect today, and every now and then an opportunity presents itself for Koivisto, and not able to take advantage of it.
So right on board, Bacchi looking back at Koivisto. I have to comment, I'm not sure if it's intentional, but I keep thinking that Koivisto's painted eyes on the headlights of his Audi.
I hadn't noticed that. He has. Maybe. Are those eyes?
That's
maybe
what he was going for. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Ooh, but look at how close he is coming up to the front stretch past the Subito de boxes. Looks to the inside. Could this be the move he's been waiting for? Oh, just not strong enough on the brakes. He's given room at the apex by Bacchi, and that could be what he needs as they go side by side through the second apex. Both of them waiting to get to the power. Still slightly ahead for Andrew. And fends him off this time, but it's starting to look like a matter of time for Koivisto. We can take just a second to step away from this fight, as Koivisto, in fact, has a bad exit out of 5. Why don't we give a top 5 rundown of each of our classes with only 10 minutes to go? Antti Lepisto has not only been able to lead the whole way, but has now stretched the gap over Keith Ritchie to 2.3 seconds. Not something we often say. Ritchie holding down second place. Behind him, Jamie Hall doesn't look like he's going to make it 2 wins in a row, but even still, another podium is going to serve well for the number 11. Michael Houghton, he's been in the wars all day today, and what is probably the biggest gap he's seen all day. 1.3 seconds over Ardo Ihamaki, who rounds out our top 5 in the GTP. Sean?
All right, buddy. Then we're going to go back to Joni Hagner. He is running first in our Audi GTOs. Uh-oh, I think we got a problem with second, though. Boafia. Oh, Joe, I think he's blinked out. I'm not seeing him on track right now at the moment, and he is... Oh, no, he's fallen through, Joe. Lost the connection. That's going to move Philip Lake, actually, up to second. Wow, what a tough break for him. He was having a great run. But Philip Lake is up to second, and that's the battle. Lake, Laughter, still going at it. Laughter in third now. Both cars in that podium position. Laughter up to it. Still trying to put the move on him here. These two have been in battle pretty much the whole race. Andrew Backe going to move up to fourth now. So you've got Backe in fourth, and Hideki Koivitso going to move up into the top 5.
Not a bad showing for Koivisto. That's your GTO top 5. Only 2 more GTOs are still out there, Newman and Aiello. We've had a number of retirements. Boafia, Trangaré, Krejcik, Steiner, Brink, Mukanos, and Rubert are all DNFs in this race. A little bit of a drop-off from Ben Laughter coming up this front stretch. Philip Lake getting a chance to breathe.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think Laughter had a bit of an awkward run there out of Jinsao and seems to have picked things back up now as he catches him once they got to the top of the hill there.
Swinging it back down through the Curva de Sol. Boy, traction seems to be in favor of Lake as he stretches away, coming off the corner once again. Makes you wonder if maybe Ben has overcooked those tires a little bit. Just might have the overall speed, but can't get the grip that he needs when he needs to apply the power.
Well, he spent a lot of time chasing, Joe, and what happens when you're chasing? You tend to push a little hard, probably beating up those tires a little bit more than he would have liked to, but boy, he's really seems to just have no problem catching him here down in the twisty bits.
Yeah, slower corners certainly do favor the Commodore Audi. Let's see what Philip Lake does as he comes out of Junxiao. We've been watching to see what the exits are like for Laughter. Not a horrible one, but once again, can't seem to really make any inroads on the UKNI driver.
Yeah, he's really got to be about right at about 5/10, about a half second there to be in the tow. He had dropped about 7/10 and just kind of lost it. Not enough time to make it up.
This is our closest fight anywhere out on the track. We do have a bit of one between Houghton and Iamaki, but they're still a second apart, so more of just a brewing battle than an actual one. Certainly a lot closer for second place in the GTOs. Lake fending off. Ben Laughter has been in a titanic fight all race long with him and what was Ove Trangaré, who sadly got into the wall earlier.
You know what they haven't had to deal with for a while, and I don't want to jinx them, Joe, and that's traffic. The lack of any traffic coming through has really, really helped their effort here to continue to race together and race hard.
As we ride on board with Lake, you might catch little flashes of a white and blue Nissan. That's Michael Kopak, who's gaining on them bit by bit. But he seems to be a little off pace. Kopak probably won't be catching them for at least another lap. Now down to under 5 minutes to go. As things get tense for Philip Lake, pushing the car as hard as he can. A little peek to the inside from Laughter under the braking down into the Senna S.
Was he tipping his hand there, maybe?
Trying to get in his head, more likely.
Yeah.
Oh, just a frustrating battle for Ben. As Lake misses shift, that brings him in much closer. This is the opportunity that Ben Laughter needs. Sometimes it's just about waiting for the mistakes. Now they head through Frenetic, and just as he catches him is just the moment that Kopak catches them. He's not in a direct battle. Does he wait? That's John Keefe behind him, but he is not in a fight with him. He's a lap behind Kopak. Kopak just biding his time, doing what he can to stay out of this fight, especially so late in the race.
So much for the not having any traffic to race with here.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, out into the grass for Ben
Careful.
Laughter. Well, here comes our leader, Lepisto.
Yep, and Ben coming on the radio apologizing. He didn't see Antti back there.
You know, I think he had his own worries, but he's going to get it back to him here because Philip Lake has to take the outside coming around this corner. And look at it, bring him into the fray. Here comes Keith Ritchie as well. He's trying to chase down Antti Lepisto. He doesn't want to waste time. Philip Lake now under threat from Ben Laughter. Laughter looks to the inside. He tries to go deep onto the brakes. He's going to stick his nose in. He's given room at the apex. They've got a Nissan on the outside. He stays out to let them through. Still side by side, but it looks like Laughter just doesn't have the momentum out of 5.
Wow, how many chances are you going to get? This is really coming to grips here. Kopak now is off pace, but still a faster car. He's trying to stay out of this battle, but he can't. And then there's, right, you got Jamie Hall now coming through. Just the absolute worst spot on track to get caught.
Hall's going to have to wait behind this fight. You know, I really don't blame Laughter for being caught out, honestly, because he was probably more focused on just holding the car together in the grass there as he almost gets into the back of Philip Lake, breaking for Zhu Xiao.
Well, they didn't have their preferred line there with Hall coming through. That really got them stacked up. Now Kopak's going to get through here and get out of this mess. That still broke up the battle, though.
What a wild lap that was.
Now, the white flag next time by Joe.
Oh, it was awful tight. Are we sure that Lepisto won't get it this lap? So we have, that was the car of Keefe dipping off into the AstroTurf.
Getting out of the way. Here comes Ritchie, man. He is digging here.
Ritchie's cut it back down to a second, but we've seen it's been ultimately hard to try and make a pass for him this race, and Lepisto has been doing a fantastic job up at the front, dealing with the traffic, dealing with the pressure. As he comes through the duckbill, is it going to be one more lap, or is this going to be it? 24 seconds to go.
We knew passing would be tough today. We didn't know it'd be this tough. It's really been a premium today.
Oh, it's going to be oh so tight at the line here. He's got a little bit of traffic in the form of Newman. He doesn't want to be held up, especially if the checkers come out here.
Newman does a great job of getting out of the way there, letting those guys race.
Which is it going to be? The clock is ticking down. I think we got the white flag now. Just crosses the line in time. Meanwhile... Laughter has apparently gotten past Lake.
Yeah.
Not sure if we want to get the replay now. I think we got a buffer between the cars. Oh, yeah, did you catch this one, Sean? I missed it.
Well, I did, yeah. And it happened in and amongst traffic. Lake was in the lead, and it was Iamaki coming through right there. They make a little bit of contact. Laughter apologizes. It's just a lot of cars stacked up right there, Joe.
He
Having
hasn't
to make
handed the
split
spot
decisions.
back.
No, he hasn't. That's because he was told, Philip told him to keep going. He's damaged. That damage is hurting him bad.
Oh,
He's
sad
limping
to
at home.
see. That was such a great fight. Hate to see it end that way. Both those drivers raced fair for the entire race as well, but Antti Lepisto himself also raced incredibly fair, and insult to injury for poor Keith Ritchie as he gets held up on the final corner by the traffic of Aiello. But Antti Lepisto, he's going to come home for a win here in the GTP class at Interlagos. Oh, and Laughter has let him back through.
Yes, he has.
We have enough time to show this pass.
Yeah, let's stay on the action because I'm not so sure. I'm not sure. So Philip Lake's
Laughter's not making any attempt to get by him. I think he let him through because he knew he was safe from Backy. He didn't like the pass. He wants to give Lake. This is sportsmanship right here. Joni Hagner, who I believe has Hagner crossed the line yet? All right, he's on his victory lap and he's showboating right now, but we saw the finish there for second place between Lake taking second and Laughter actually giving him the position after he wasn't satisfied with his pass. And it sounds like Lake actually has been given the meatball, so he might be disqualified.
He should be okay, actually, Joe. I think if he'd have stayed out through the meatball, then it would have disqualified him. But I think he should be okay.
Well, the last track...
You get 4 laps on the meatball, don't you?
I believe so. The last track was a lot of chicanes, very difficult for Hagner to try and drift it in celebration. This one, he gets a lot more opportunity as he was basically sideways the whole lap around. But as he comes to the line, Joni Hagner is going to take the win of the GTOs here at Interlagos. With that, that's going to wrap us up, at least until the post-race show, as he gets a bit more action in after the checkers. Stick around because we'll have the official results as well as driver interviews, and on screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Welcome back to Interlagos. We just watched round 10 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. Up at the top, even though we didn't give him a whole lot of screen time, he earned it. Anti Lapisto took the win, a well-won race. And in fact, he had to withstand quite a bit of pressure because Keith Ritchie was trying to hunt him down nearly the entire way. Only a second between them at the line. Jamie Hall completes the podium, which is a respectable finish for him after a win last week. Michael Houghton, of course, finishes fourth behind them. Ardo Yamaki with a top 5 and Rob Olenek finishing in 6th. Mick Claridge jumps over to a high downforce car and manages a 7th. A nice finish for him. He started in 7th, so no loss, no gain. In 8th, Jesus Basillas. He went from 14th to 8th. A nice climb. We didn't really get to cover much of it, but a big congrats to Jesus for being one of the movers of the race. John Hill going from 13th to 9th followed him through. Klaus Peterson finished in 10th today, and then Michael Kopak comes home in 11th. Clayton McLeod, boy, not the day that he wanted, very rough for him. He finishes in 12th. And then John Keefe rounds out our finishers in the prototypes, coming home in 13th.
All right, let's go to the Audi GTOs, where we saw a really, really wild finish there. Not so wild for Yoni Hagner. He has the track to himself for most of the race. He'll finish first. Philip Lake will finish second place today, and Ben Laughter going to finish third. Those two had a really spirited battle, and we saw a great amount of sportsmanship between the two there at the end. Andrew Backey going to have to settle for fourth. Hideki Koivitso fifth. Daniel Newman there in 6th. Caradine Boafia. Boy, what a tough break for him, losing connection. He's going to finish 7th. Marcelo Aiello 8th. And Ove Trengrade, who had a big problem there early, slaps the wall about halfway through, actually. Slaps the wall, a real tank slapper that ends his race there in 9th. And then the rest of the Nissans that did not finish the race, Martin Krychek, there 23rd overall. Michael Steiner will finish 15th in class. Lambert Brink, 16th. Nicholas Mukanos will finish 17th, and Lars Rupert 18th in class. I don't see that he took any laps.
Yeah, I believe he was a did not start. We have a few interviews to do. First up, we're going to start with second place in our GTOs, Philip Lake, who experienced a good show of sportsmanship from his competitor Ben Laughter, who led him back through. And first off, let's start with the incident that caused you the damage that slowed you down at the end. Philip, what was your take on that incident?
Hi, guys. At the time, I think there was about 2 or 3 Nissans behind us, and I didn't know who'd hit me. I was just trying to catch hold of the car, and then I was looking around to see where Ben was. I didn't really know a whole lot about it.
Before that, though, yourself and Ben, and for half the race, you had Trangarade in there as well. You guys had just a phenomenal back and forth battle with a lot of traffic seen to cause some chaos. Would you like to see this track back on the schedule, or is the traffic kind of a no, let's keep this one in the bin thing for you?
Oh, no, I really enjoyed the circuit, and the traffic just sort of adds to the fun, really. It's quite tough to maintain your pace and let the Nissans through, but that's all part of the series.
Certainly adds some spiciness to the racing that we love calling. Now, you had a good run earlier today over in the Lotus 49, and then you jumped over here. You're a bit newer in that older car. How does it compare to something like the Audi for you?
It's a little bit more difficult to jump into. The brakes don't really work, and it's obviously difficult on the throttle as well. So it's an interesting car to try and learn. But I will be sticking in this series for the next few seasons.
We love having you over here. And again, congratulations on a second place and a podium today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I didn't actually realize it was second until I crossed the line. I just want to say thanks to Ben for his sportsmanship there. That was really great.
We concur. That was a pleasant surprise, I'm sure, for the number 9 Philip Lake, second place today in the GTOs. And it sounds like the guy that led him through, I think Sean's going to be talking to him next, Ben Laughter.
Yeah, we're going to take Ben real quick just because we finished up there with Phil. Ben, a great bit of sportsmanship there. Talk us through what happened there at the end.
Well, I had looked at the clock. I knew that we had maybe 1 or 2 laps remaining. And so I was being very aggressive. I think I had him under the brakes in a lot of spots. And I think I was letting Ihamaki through in that tight right and thought I'd try to follow him through, get alongside and get a good run down the hill. And, you guys may have never heard this before, but these Audis are finicky on the brakes. Can you believe it?
Go figure.
And I just slid right into Phil, and I felt like crap. So since he was still rolling, I decided I didn't earn that position, and he could have it back.
Well, we've watched you guys run for a while now, and it does seem like a very, very tight community as a good show of sportsmanship there, but still overall it was a great race. I'm going to ask you the same thing Joe asked Phil, because I'm kind of curious as well. I mean, is this a track you'd like to see back on the schedule? It was fun, but man, working through the traffic a bit rough.
I can't speak for driving it in the Nissan, but I can say that driving it in an Audi is a lot of fun. You've really got to steer it with the rear end of the car. You've got to manage understeer. This car throws itself onto trajectories, and you've got to drive the car here. It's not a passive experience. So, hey, I want to give a quick shout out real quickly. There's a fellow named Brett Alt that shows up and watches a whole bunch of our races. I think he's in the chat right now. I thought I'd say hey. All
right, yeah, Brett, a big fan of the Commodore as well. So, yeah, we love having him on board too. Ben, I'll tell you what, today was exciting. We predicted we'd have an exciting race. We got it. You wind up with a podium finish and head off in the next week. Looking forward to getting to the next track.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what's next, but I'll be there.
All right, Mossport. That's what you gotta work on. That's your homework assignment, Ben. Mossport.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. That's Ben Laughter. Big third place finish for him today, Joe. And it looks like we've got one more to catch up with, and it's Michael Houghton.
Absolutely. Houghton with a 4th place finish today, but with some impressive moves along the way. Mike, you might want to go back and watch the broadcast, because there was one moment you left us a bit speechless. I don't know if you remember it, but how did you make that move around the outside of turn 1 and get the position? That was incredible stuff.
Big balls.
Simple answer. Well,
great answer. I love that.
Other than that, yourself and Ihamaki and Olenek were just going at it hammer and tongs all day today. Was that fun for you?
It was great fun, but it was very stressful. I had to be on the money every single lap because Ardo was a bit quicker than me through turns 5, 6, and 7, and I'd be better coming back onto the main straight. But yeah, it was very tough, and the traffic wasn't easy. This is a very, very difficult track, but I made the most out of every situation. Some situations, like at the end when Ben was trying to pass Philip and he blocked basically the entire road, I just thought, oh God, Ardo's gonna catch me now.
Well, I got some bad news for you in terms of traffic, because the next round is going to be Mosport. Now, I don't know if you've ever run multi-class at that track before, but you might need to work a little bit on traffic management then, if you consider this one tough.
Oh, I love Mosport. That's going to be a fun one.
Indeed. It'll provide us some excitement, I have no doubt, and maybe cause a few drivers to lose a little bit of hair. Well, congratulations on a 4th place today. You fought hard for that one.
Thank you, guys, and see you next week.
We will indeed. That was our 4th place finisher out there today in the GTP class. And with that, we're going to close up today. Of course, we want to thank the Kamel GT community for coming together and bringing these broadcasts there. We enjoy getting to broadcast them season after season. And thanks to Rob Olenek and Andrew Backey for doing all the organizing they do on the VCR Championship behind the scenes. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. The next race, as we mentioned, they're going up to Canada, up to Mosport. That'll be Saturday, November 25th at 12 p.m. Eastern. We also have other upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.